This is an ancient wine press, 2,000 years old. So how did people press grapes? So back then they will use the method of stomping over the grapes with their feet. Now what we're looking now is the lower level. Where is the upper level? It would be behind this wall. So we just looked at the lower level. The upper level will be behind the wall. In the upper level, people will put the grapes, and mainly grapes would be ready in the month of August. People will stomp over the grapes with their feet, and the juice will come to this lower basin or lower level. So basically, the wine press indicates that at the time of Christ, there was a garden here, and mainly a vineyard or agricultural garden. The Bible tells us about one of the secret disciples of Jesus, whose name is Joseph of Arimathea, that he was a wealthy person, a good person, was following Christ secretly. He was waiting for the kingdom of God to come. He was a member of the Jewish Sanhedrin. He was a rich person. He owned a garden outside Jerusalem, and in that garden he had a tomb. This tomb was excavated in 1867, and then the garden was excavated in 1924. So far, any questions about what I just said? Just to make sure that I did not bombard you with information. Okay, all is clear? But
Is this the actual tomb or replica?
Okay, now in Jerusalem there is the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. Have you all been there?
Yeah.
No.
Okay, maybe you're going to? Okay. Anyhow, so in Jerusalem there is the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. The Church of the Holy Sepulchre has the traditional site of crucifixion and burial that the church was built in the 4th century AD. Now this place has a tradition of having the place of crucifixion and resurrection since the 1800s. Now, to answer your question, this is like a real tomb that dates back to the time of Christ. Was excavated 150 years back. But again, the question is whether in the Holy Sepulchre or this tomb, what's more important than both tombs are empty, and the story of resurrection happened as a result of God's love. Amen. So anyhow, to conclude my explanation to you about the garden, the Bible, the book of John tells us that in the place of crucifixion there was a garden. Listen carefully. The book of John does not say near the place of crucifixion there was a garden, but it rather says in the place of crucifixion there was a garden. Okay. Also, it tells us that the tomb was in a garden, and therefore resurrection happened from a garden. So when Jesus resurrected and when he was crucified, he gave salvation, forgiveness, healing from a garden. What is the spiritual aspect of it? Well, because if we go back to the Garden of Eden, this is where sin took place, and this is where sin have been, multiplied and given to the world through the disobedience of Adam. So the Garden of Eden, it is the place of sin, but the Garden of Joseph of Arimathea, it is a place of restoration and salvation, forgiveness and healing. Amen. Okay, so now I'll take you to the place of the skull to explain to you about the crucifixion side, and then I'll explain to you about the tomb that we see.